Have you ever felt empty even after achieving everything you thought you wanted? Why do our greatest accomplishments sometimes leave us hollow? This tale reveals what real prosperity truly means. In an ancient kingdom, there lived a trader named Alexander. Throughout the land, he was famous for his immense fortune. His vaults overflowed with precious metals. His storage rooms were filled with rare gemstones and exotic fabrics. His mansion walls showcased priceless artifacts collected from distant realms. People admired him from afar. They spoke his name with awe. They wished to possess what he had. Yet Alexander felt a void within. Each dawn he inspected his wealth. Each dusk he secured his treasures behind iron gates. He believed in no one. He connected with no one. During the silent hours, he rested on luxurious bedding, eyes fixed on the shadows above. His spirit was numb, frozen, burdened, hollow. He dismissed this emptiness. He convinced himself that accumulation was the answer. Another acquisition, another transaction, another fortune to claim. Only then would satisfaction arrive. Seasons turned into years. One evening, a mysterious traveler knocked at his gates. The visitor dressed in humble garments and carried a weathered satchel. His face bore the marks of time, yet his gaze sparkled with life. He observed Alexander and offered a peaceful smile. "They say you possess more than anyone in this realm." Alexander lifted his chin proudly. "Indeed, my wealth has no equal." The traveler nodded thoughtfully. "I once encountered someone similar. He commanded empires of gold, yet departed this world forgotten and alone." Alexander's expression darkened. "What brings you to my door, stranger?" "I bring knowledge of something profound, abundance that transcends what you currently possess, treasures that never deteriorate." Alexander scoffed. "I have witnessed every form of wealth. You have nothing new to reveal." The traveler retrieved a worn parchment from his bag. "This map guides to infinite abundance, far exceeding anything within these walls." Alexander leaned forward. His eyes grew wide. His pulse quickened. "How did you acquire this?" "From a monarch who surrendered all possessions, yet he found something greater. To witness it yourself, exchange your most valuable gem and accompany me on this quest." Alexander paused. His finest gem could purchase an estate, but limitless riches? Desire overcame caution. He retrieved the jewel, an emerald the size of a child's fist. The traveler took it and handed him the map. "We depart at sunrise," he declared. When morning arrived, they began their expedition. Alexander packed a substantial sack of currency and voiced complaints before the first hour ended. The road was rough. His feet hurt. Walking was unfamiliar to him. "Why must we travel by foot?" he protested. "This path requires personal effort," the traveler replied peacefully. They journeyed through dense woodlands. Alexander tripped on exposed roots. His expensive footwear deteriorated. His spine throbbed. Retreat tempted him, yet thoughts of boundless treasures propelled him onward. By the third sunrise, they encountered a rushing stream. It stretched wide and flowed fiercely. No crossing existed. "We must wade through," the traveler stated. He removed his footwear and entered the waters. Alexander hesitated. "I will become drenched. My possessions will burden me." "Then release them," the traveler suggested. Alexander gripped his currency tightly. However, the traveler had already reached midstream. Alexander had little choice. He stepped into the frigid flow. It numbed his limbs. It dragged at his movements. At the center point, his sack loosened. Currency scattered into the current and vanished. He cried out, "My wealth!" "Continue forward," the traveler urged.
Alexander emerged on the opposite bank, soaked and trembling. He had forfeited half his fortune. Frustration consumed him. He felt betrayed, yet something unfamiliar awakened within. Something subtle yet powerful. He felt genuinely alive. Their journey persisted. They passed through settlements Alexander never knew existed. In one hamlet, strangers welcomed them to dine. Alexander initially refused, but the traveler gratefully accepted. They sat upon the earth and consumed basic bread and broth. The household possessed little. Their dwelling showed visible decay, yet happiness filled the air. They shared tales, young ones engaged in playful activities. Alexander observed silently. He struggled to recall his last genuine laugh. "You possess almost nothing," he remarked to the household head. "How do you find such joy?" The man beamed. "We have one another. We have this moment. What more could we desire?" Alexander found himself without response. Days transformed into weeks. They ascended peaks. They rested beneath open skies. Alexander witnessed sunsets painting distant valleys in brilliant hues of amber, rose, and violet. He stood speechless, sensing something within him begin to shift. One night, gathered around flames, Alexander examined his palms. They had grown calloused, marked with dirt. His elegant attire lay in tatters, yet poverty did not define him. He experienced something beyond description. "Wise traveler," he spoke softly, "we have wandered for many weeks. When shall we arrive at these riches?" The traveler's smile grew. "Very soon, my companion. The moment approaches." The following dawn, they discovered a concealed cavern among mountain cliffs. The opening appeared narrow and shadowed. The traveler ignited a flame and guided the path inward. The cavern expanded into a vast chamber. Alexander anticipated mountains of precious metals, cascades of gemstones, riches stacked to impossible heights. Instead, solitude greeted him. A single object, a looking glass. It stood at the chamber's heart, towering and ancient. The frame consisted of plain timber. Alexander stared in disbelief. "This? A mere reflection?" "Gaze into it," the traveler urged. Alexander approached. He confronted his reflection. What he witnessed paralyzed him. The figure before him appeared foreign. Perhaps it resembled him, yet not the version he recognized. The image appeared fractured, diminished. The eyes held no spark. The expression had forgotten warmth. Alexander stepped backward. "What sorcery is this?" "This reveals your former self, a person who controlled everything yet possessed nothing meaningful, a person who imprisoned his spirit within golden walls." Alexander felt moisture on his cheeks. Tears had not fallen in countless seasons. I believed prosperity defined me." "You were prosperous in possessions, but possessions cannot satisfy the soul. They cannot deliver fulfillment. They cannot restore your true nature." Alexander faced the elder. "Why reveal this to me?" The traveler's tone grew tender.
"I once ruled as sovereign. I governed vast territories. I commanded fortresses and legions. I controlled fortune beyond imagination. Then conflict erupted. I forfeited everything within a single night. My loved ones, my throne, my treasures." He stopped. His gaze drifted to distant memories. Yet gradually, understanding emerged.
I encountered souls. I participated in simple gatherings. I witnessed tempests and celestial displays. I assisted farmers with their harvests. I absorbed melodies from innocent voices, and clarity arrived. What truth? Alexander breathed. Physical belongings fade. Precious metals corrode. Gemstones disappear. Palaces crumble into dust. But lived moments, they endure eternally. They reside within your being. They transform your essence. They create abundance no metal can replicate. Alexander returned his attention to the reflection. The image remained fractured, damaged. Can restoration occur? He questioned. Indeed, the traveler affirmed, through different choices, through pursuing existence, not objects, through enriching your spirit with memories, not minerals. Alexander turned to express gratitude. However, solitude surrounded him. The traveler had disappeared, dissolved like morning mist. Only the flickering flame remained, dancing upon the stone floor. Alexander stood isolated. He observed the glass a final time. Then he collected the flame and left the cavern. The return journey consumed weeks, yet Alexander did not hasten. The path guided him through communities where people and expressions awaited. A cultivator requested assistance with damaged fencing, and Alexander remained. Youth invited him into their amusements, their laughter echoing through dusty paths. When darkness fell, he joined elders and absorbed narratives sculpted by experience. Each instant felt precious. Every encounter contributed something to his being that riches never provided. Upon reaching his homeland, he proceeded straight to his estate and surveyed his collections. They appeared frigid now, devoid of warmth. He recalled the household who shared their meal, the sunset over distant terrain, and the sensation of stream water against his flesh. Understanding arrived. Alexander liquidated his treasures, not immediately, but gradually. He retained only necessities. With the remainder, he wandered. Arid lands and mountain ranges unfolded before him, and oceans transported him to foreign coasts. New tongues shaped his speech. Strangers transformed into friends. He experienced the sun's burn and the rain's touch. He sampled cuisine without names. He moved to rhythms at celebrations and mourned at farewells. He released laughter until his body ached. Seasons passed. His hair turned gray and face grew lined, yet his eyes radiated brilliance, vibrant, abundant with narratives. One afternoon, an old woman asked him, "Are you rich?" His smile emerged. "My pockets hold emptiness, yet I possess abundance beyond measure." Confusion marked her expression. "How is this possible?" "Because I have truly lived," he stated simply. "I have witnessed, I have experienced, I have allowed the world to reshape me. That is wealth that never fades." Sometimes we mirror Alexander's early path. We pursue objects, we fill our spaces, yet we feel hollow internally. We calculate our possessions, yet we forget to calculate our lived reality. Authentic abundance originates not from handheld items, it emerges from heart-held memories. Lived moments expand your being. They teach you, they sculpt your character, they provide wisdom and stories, they generate the sensation of vitality. Material items offer comfort, however, they cannot provide evolution. They cannot provide transformation. A vehicle remains machinery, yet a journey with cherished individuals becomes memory everlasting. Objects create weight, experiences create elevation. Therefore, question yourself, what drives my pursuit? Am I chasing belongings or adventures? Am I constructing storage or constructing existence? The choice remains yours. Remember, prosperity arrives when you seek new adventures, not material accumulation. If this narrative resonated within you, share it with those who need this message. Connect for continued wisdom and venture into reality. Experience, discover, evolve. This is defining authentic wealth.